Subchapter 4.5. Killjoy to Angel 1. Cancel evac point Delta. New evac point high tower at rooftop pads at Stadium Building 6. Eyes on Diamond. Repeat. Eyes on Diamond. Stand by to recover Diamond and 2 mechs. We have 7 hostiles with possibility for more on top. Killjoy out. Soto nodded to the landing craft pilot to acknowledge Catherine's transmission and change the destination. He wondered if she had really seen Sarah McCabe, because, after all, she had been missing for nearly 2 weeks. She would have been sold and transported to her place of confinement by now. But if Catherine had seen Sarah, he had little reason to doubt her. An android's facial recognition ability was razor-sharp. AC Ducey split the upper atmosphere of Ducas at full sublight power, pushing Mach 7, heading directly into a storm front. At the controls, Rick fumed. She was there the whole time. The words at the bottom of Sarah's page burned in his soul and fueled his rage. Hold for client pickup. It gave the date and time the client would arrive to pick up his newly bought property. Today, just minutes away. QR sat slumped in his seat. He shook his head. How could we know? If that was not an agonizing revelation, the notation had given Sarah's location where she waited for her new owner to arrive. Merchandise holding at Detention Row 5, Cell 16. QR checked the floor plan of the auction house to confirm his hunch. You think you feel bad now, Rick? You want to hear more? Rick shook his head. How bad can it get? Remember that corridor we ran down, in the detention area? Rick's hands went to his face. Oh no, don't tell me. That was Detention Row 5. We ran right past her. It gets worse. You killing me, Q? Remember when I created the diversion? I opened all the holding cells. Rick leaned over the controls. Oh my God, we let her out. Apparently, she was recaptured. Unhurt, at least. We let her out, and we weren't there. Just ran on by. QR felt he had done enough to torment Rick. He read the current auction house data on his screen and found a fragment of optimism. If it helps, we may be in time to crash the transfer party. We're 7-8 minutes out. Rick straightened and rubbed the regret from his eyes. Yeah, we gotta keep our heads. Come up with a game plan. And quick. How do we get her back when we haven't been invited to the party? Catherine felt a rush of excitement as the lift neared the top of the elevator shaft. The high-value prize that Sarah represented could not be denied. Catherine's pursuit of Rick would be greatly simplified if she could get Sarah in her custody, as he would come to her, and this cat-and-mouse game would be over. His whole reason for running would be standing right next to her once she gets Sarah out of the hands of the Ducisi. In addition to that, when Rick comes to her, she will bring him to justice and be freed from the Priority 1 program. Catherine nearly quivered with anticipation in light of this golden opportunity that had walked right past and was now standing just a few feet below her. The elevator slowed to a stop, and Catherine looked for a spot to jump off. Odie, this maintenance bay on the left. Wait for the others to get off and follow me. Right. The level where the elevator stopped was open to the roof, and when Catherine hopped off the lift, she paused to survey the rooftop landing pads. The first thing she noticed was the weather. While she and Odie were inside, rain had been falling, drenching the landing pads, but at the moment, the rainfall had subsided to a drizzle. Ample space had been devoted to 3 landing pads on the top of Building 6, as this building was the largest in the complex besides the stadium itself. Number 6 was the Center of Administration, Operation and Acquisitions, and holdings for the House of the Yellow Lantern. Catherine was in an excellent position to scout the area, as the level she was on was elevated above the rooftop, enabling her to look down. She was pleased to see many opportunities for cover, large bases for light towers, control boxes, and stairwells. The landing pads were on elevated platforms, offering additional cover at their bases. Catherine read Hightower's landing zone in a matter of seconds, also taking note of the ship resting on one of the pads. She identified it as an Earth-made light transport, a civilian Nash Starliner. Catherine thought it was an odd choice to pick up a newly bought slave. Though equipped for hyperlight travel, this Nash was considered slow and modest. Perhaps that might account for Sarah being held here for nearly 2 weeks, waiting for this underpowered vessel to arrive. This one on the landing pad was painted in an equally unassuming white, with thin red stripes down its sides. Though the presence of a civilian Earthship on a slave planet intrigued her, Catherine had to keep her focus on the main objective: Sarah McCabe. She looked for a path down to the rooftop level and saw a metal catwalk that extended from her present position to a set of stairs not far away. "Odie, follow me and act natural. Do not run unless I tell you." "Understood." With all the appearance of busy maintenance droids, Catherine paced across the catwalk to the stairs with Odie close behind, descended to the rooftop level, and proceeded toward the transport. When the raindrops struck her, Catherine felt the heat of the water, almost hot. She wondered if anything on this planet could be described as cool. Everything was hot: the air, ground, and now the rain. Catherine ducked down behind a control box when they passed by. Odie crouched beside her. Catherine transmitted another message to the IPS landing party, speaking out loud. "Killjoy to Angel 1, I am in position. What is your ETA?" Her cranial receiver received a quick reply. "Angel 1 to Killjoy, ETA is 6 minutes to High Tower." "Copy." Catherine looked back at the exit from the building where Sarah was expected. "She hasn't boarded the transport yet." "When will your friends arrive?" 6 minutes. Catherine scanned the area between the building's exit and the Nash on the landing pad, measuring the time it would take to walk the distance. Odie came to the same conclusion. "They will be late. To cross from the exit to the landing pad will take no more than 45 seconds. "I'm aware of it." Odie noticed a movement inside the exit. "Here they come." They watched as Sarah's guard detail marched her through the doors from the interior waiting area to the landing pads outside, still in a box formation around her. No question remained. They would reach the transport and take off before IPS arrived. Catherine pulled her rifle from her shoulder, glancing at the escort detail and then at the ship on the pad. She had to delay them. 1 or 2 well-placed shots on the Nash would certainly do that. But would such a provocative act scare them off? They would pull Sarah back to the safety of the building's interior. She weighed her choices. If she does nothing, she loses Sarah. Her other choice. At least Sarah would be contained in the area for now. She will have to be located again and extracted. Catherine raised her rifle to her eye, aiming for a spot on the engine cowling on the Nash. The vehicle had no armor. A single round would penetrate and disable the craft. A distant hum grew to a roar. Catherine held her shot and looked up. Sarah's guards also stopped and searched the skies for the source of the sound. The source showed up. Acey-Deucey swooped down out of the dense, low cloud cover, sending a blinding spray of hot water in all directions. The ship hovered over the rooftop in the center of its own self-made cyclone, before coming down to rest its bulk between the holding area and the landing pad where the Nash was parked. The Sundog blocked the guard detail that advanced toward the pad, and as the craft did not land on one of the pads, the rooftop floor buckled under its weight and sagged, threatening to crack like thin ice. The Deuce's engines powered down. Across the distance, Catherine caught the words spoken by the leader of the guard detail. "Protect the property. Get her inside." Sarah's guard detail, as Catherine had feared, fell back with their prisoner, retreating to the holding area from which they had come, but their leading officer remained, watching the intruding craft. Catherine stood amazed at Rick's audacity and recklessness. Though she marveled at his bold move, she was sure of one thing. This was an act of desperation. He had no time to plan and carefully execute a rescue mission like he had done infiltrating the stadium the day before. Another choice came to her: follow Sarah or stay and capture Rick. As she considered the advantages and disadvantages of both options, Catherine became aware of a soft sound behind her, the pad of a footfall in a puddle of water. Catherine spun around and came face to face with Diggs just a few feet from her. She leveled her rifle on him. Odie turned also and took a step back. Diggs held a device in his hand and pointed at Catherine. Android Pym, not your real name, I know. Might I suggest holding your fire for the present moment? As you can see, you are outnumbered. Catherine looked beyond Diggs to see several armed guards behind him. She counted 10. The device in Diggs's hand drew her attention. It was not a gun. Odie took a step forward. Master Diggs, I can explain everything. Diggs took his aim off Catherine, swung it on Odie, and pressed the switch at the top of the rod in his hand. A flash of blue, lightning-like emission shot out from its tip, striking Odie in the chest. Tendrils of blue energy radiated out from the strike point and encircled Odie, who pitched forward and hit the puddles on the floor, dead. Catherine gazed at Odie, then turned her eyes to Diggs. She lowered her rifle.
Oh, don't worry about your little friend. He'll reactivate in a minute or two.
Diggs waved the device in front of Catherine. Do you recognize this tech?
Yes.
It is the very same EMP emitter that was used to knock you out last night. The only difference was that last night, the reactivate setting was set to indefinite. Diggs admired his toy. I rather like it. Think I'll keep it. Very useful in dealing with rogue AI who lie about themselves. What are you doing here, Diggs? I was going to ask you the same question. Today, we're going to have a little talk. All 5 of us. Together. 5? You and me, the tech bot, and your 2 friends on that ship that just landed. Catherine looked Diggs straight in the eye. Mr. Diggs, my name is Special Agent Catherine Mercer of Interplanetary Security. I am currently on a mission. Please do not interfere any more than you already have. Diggs raised his brows in surprise. IPS? Of the provenance? Well then, Special Agent Catherine Mercer. Before you think about completing your mission, perhaps you should first consider what is at stake. What do you mean? The innocent lives you are risking. Catherine narrowed her eyes, not sure to what he was referring.
You have no idea what I'm talking about.
Diggs stepped aside and motioned to his men behind him to part. The guards separated in the middle, revealing the 2 figures at the rear. Catherine gasped. Shinpo held Maji in her grasp and a gun in her free hand. Maji looked up at Catherine for a second before breaking eye contact. Baby. Catherine stared. Maji. Diggs smiled. I believe you have already met Shinpo, former head of staff of the Master of Sales House. Former?
Shinpo is now Mistress of Sales. I found her to be most cooperative. Shinpo's smile to Catherine was laced with vinegar and spite. Shinpo volunteered to join us here today, and I couldn't turn her down. Bringing Maji was my idea. Diggs motioned to the closest guards. Arrest the android. 2 guards came forward. Catherine took a stance and held her gun in a tight grip, ready to aim and fire. Diggs, let Maji go. She has nothing to do with this.
Be reasonable, Catherine. After all, you are Maji's caretaker, and you do have her best interests in mind. Don't you? Catherine stared at Maji and saw Shinpo holding the gun to Maji's head. She relaxed her stance and lightened her grip on her gun. A guard swiped Catherine's gun from her hands. Another bound her wrists together behind her back with a pair of smart cuffs, a restraining device that activated at the touch of a switch. 2 thin straps shot out from a central unit, encircled her wrists, joined together, and pulled tight. Catherine tugged on the cuffs, testing their strength, and found them unbreakable. She kept her eyes locked on Maji. Killjoy to Angel 1. Code 10, repeat Code 10. Abort evac at Hightower. Do not approach. Soto groaned in frustration. The landing crafts had just punched through the Dukis atmosphere and were inbound to Pazim and the auction house. His agents had been briefed, suited up in body armor, and heavily armed. They were ready. I don't believe this. She got caught again. Soto tapped the screen beside the pilot to send a transmission. Angel 1 to Killjoy. What is your present location? At Hightower evac point, came Catherine's voice over the speakers. Have been overrun by hostiles. I've lost Diamond. Do not stand easy, Catherine. How many hostiles you got? I can see at least 12 in the area. Also, Jackrabbit has landed. Repeat, Jack? Yeah, I heard you. Looks like you got the whole gang there. Okay, hang tight. We'll be down in a few. Negative. Do not approach. Repeat, do not. Soto cut the transmission. Just shut up, robot.